All right, everybody. Let's as I always love to say here. Hold on, let me turn this music down here. As I always love to say, ladies and gentlemen, let's get this show started. All right. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching us from. Everyone, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world, and your host today, once again, of DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. Thanks to everybody for tuning in and watching, whether you're watching live or on the replay. This is the place to be. But the past few weeks have been quite the roller coasters, ladies and gentlemen. It's been quite the ride for Bitcoin enthusiasts and the market in general. The price of Bitcoin has been fluctuating wildly. Yes, it has. And now it's pumping. It's always good for the market. But the SEC's decision on the ETF approval process and the various people applying for that is pretty much one of the major factors affecting the markets, causing a lot of FOMO, a lot of anticipation. And that's a good thing, but it can be a downside. They always say, buy the rumor and sell the news. According to the Financial Times and pretty much everyone else on the planet, the SEC has been deferring decisions on the first U.S. exchange-traded funds that invest directly in Bitcoin, which has dampened investors' hopes for a speedy route to this. Speedy route to the world's largest capital markets, the U.S. market. However, Bloomberg Intelligence estimates that there's a 90% chance that a nod from the SEC is coming by January 10th. That's only 2 weeks into the new year. This could spell a new dawn for Bitcoin's price trajectory, potentially propelling it to the, I'm not going to say that word, but it could be good for it. It could be good for it, or more likely, a new sell-off would likely happen. We're going to talk about that today. Of course, the inflation rate is another factor that's been affecting Bitcoin pricing. The inflation rate in the U.S. Has obviously been rising for a while. It's cooled off a little bit now. We're trying to get a handle on it. But this has led to a decrease in the value of the U.S. dollar, along with our printing money machine presses going on. As a result, investors have been turning to Bitcoin as a hedge against inflation. It's not as obvious here in North America or Europe, but in Argentina, Turkey, Nigeria, South Africa, and many other countries with rampant inflation, BTC and stablecoins have preserved family wealth and kept companies solvent. So I always say, like a crazy week in Bitcoin. It's going to be another one here, and it's starting off that way. But on my show today, we got Pedro Garcia. Pedro in the house. Whoop!
Whoop, 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 whoop.
And we got Carmen Crypto, ladies and gentlemen. Carmen Crypto in the house. Carmen?
Whoop, whoop, what?
I don't know what that was, Carmen.
it's well, I actually have the sound effect, but that's me not blowing out your ears. Me. You don't join enough NFT spaces.
Right. I think your mic's a little low. For those of you watching, if you could give us a little feedback on the sound of all of our mics. Carmen's got a new setup now. She's got the fancy stuff in the studio, and so all we need to let her know if she needs to turn the gain up. My monitor is here. My ear is separate from what you guys hear, so we'd like to get some feedback on that as always. But as we start this show, Pedro, it's a wild market out there, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, man. It's actually kind of a fun thing because, like I said, I hope I'm wrong, because what I was seeing in the charts, back in July and in August, where we were kind of going sideways here, and I was expecting August and September for us to see this fallout, right? In particular, this movement here in the market on what day was this? It was August 20, when we saw the shoot up with, not FTX.
Oh, wait a second. Sorry to interrupt you here. Mike says, Carmen, turn your mic up a notch or two. But while we got Mike in the house, Mike, I got to give it to you. Here it comes. My sound effect. All right, you got to give him the "Oh Canada" sound effect there. Crypto Mike says, "Hey Pedro."
Hey, what's up, Mike?
And he also says, "I want to be listening to us from the Dominican Republic."
Come on, man! Right on the beach, chilling.
All right, Pedro, give me this the quick idea of what's going on here, so we can introduce Carmen to the audience once again.
Absolutely. So basically, we're seeing a good little rally going on right now between the 37. Like I said, if we buzz through this area right here, we're going to see the market. The next potential stopping area is between that 48,000 and 45,000 area right here. And we got a nice little weekly zone, which is sitting right here at these levels. Now, as you can see here, if the market does keep coming up, I'm a little weary again on this weekly because we don't have any real demand wick. So be prepared for some type of pullback down to that 40,000 area. But if we continue, because we all know that if Bitcoin starts to go, it's like trying to stop a train. Okay, so it's going to potentially could blow through this area here, and that next area of resistance could be the 59,000, which is potential the peak here. So we could be setting up for the potential bull run, right? Like where we now start to we see a 2x, right, or a 3x of Bitcoin. So it's gonna be really interesting. But I don't see that. What I do see is us coming down and hitting this 50,000 area, and then coming back down to test that 40,000, potential 30,000. All right. So understanding that if we blow through this area, the next area of resistance is going to be the 59,000, 57,000 area.
Ooh, that's a good area to be in.
Yeah, right. That's exactly. It's a straight shot there. So there's really not much. It's going to be interesting. If we do get stopped and it does start to turn around here, don't worry, people. There is a lot of buyers stepping in here this week. So we saw a lot of people kind of coming in, so which has been really, it's still Wednesday here, and we're already almost surpassed last week and the week prior of volume here. So it's one of those things that people are getting involved. We're starting to see real volume step in now and starting to see it going. I would love to see it retrace a little, just simply because, traditional finance is really getting involved. And so with that traditional finance getting involved, they like to buy cheap. They don't like to buy expensive. So that's why I think we probably see a pullback at the 45,000 area to the 40,000 area. That's it in a nutshell.
Well, that's in a nutshell, but we got our other guest in the house today. Oh, I got that comment still on here. Other guest in the house, Carmen Crypto. Carmen, it's been a long time since you've been on the show. We used to do all of these together, but you've been out and been busy. What's going on in the life of Carmen Crypto?
I only came back to ask when bull run. That's the only reason.
And she's muted.
And I'm banned.
When bull run.
I've been just out on the crypto streets trying to do what I always do, which is, fail fast and learn from those things and figure out who's who in the zoo. So this year's actually
who's who in the zoo.
Who's who in the zoo? Sometimes you just got to be on a fly on the wall and just watch people operate to see like which direction they're going to run. But there's a lot of beautiful, exciting things happening. And some of the coolest things that I've done this year that we have not spoken about is working with my team and working on some, applications using AI and blockchain for law firms and for also remote patient health, like telehealth.
Oh,
so I've been really learning like how to functioning, regulated, compliant. Sorry, not compliant. Not even using the right words. Compliance-driven applications that have AI and blockchain in it. How can we make sure that we are getting our foot in the door into legacy, companies? And we're working with Delta. We're working with law firms. We're working with it's CVS or Walgreens. like, huge entities that want to do better business. And so we're providing business intelligent tools that have the innovative technology to be able to accomplish some things that are in line with some of the philosophies that we have here in terms of what the technology can really do and its best impact. All the while we sit here and we're watching, charts, we're watching microcap tokens, we're watching, NFTs evolve and transform and change, and every founder in a seat is just really shaking in their seat, wondering where do they turn? What do they do? Should they turn on the marketing faucet now? Is this the time to run? And so it's an interesting place for all of us to be in because there's so many layers to all of this. And I like being in all of them. So it's cool to come back here where I get to digest what you guys think about the news, what you guys are getting into, and then also to hear Pedro's TA. I need it.
You like my TA?
Well,
I do.
Well, it sounds like you're busy, Carmen.
Absolutely.
As always, every time we speak with you, you got a million things going on. How is obviously Pedro and I sit here and we've opened the show talking about BTC and that type of market, but you're more directly involved with various different aspects of the digital economy. In BTC land right now, the optimism is clearly very high. What's the feeling like that in the other projects at the level you're working at?
Well, I think we all have heard the term builder's market, and that truly is where a lot of people are. I almost feel like you can almost identify the competencies of a founder right now. Like, are they just going to go all the way and put it all in and try to make something happen and not pay attention to the market conditions, or not prepare if this goes sideways, if this isn't going to result in the run? But in other aspects, I see a lot of huge entities that are taking the time to say, okay, we can't miss the next opportunity, so it's time for us to really start polishing up and finishing up these loose ends in preparation for whatever's going to happen. And I am seeing a lot of new people come into the space with a lot of curiosity. And some of my conversations when even starting the discovery call or discovery process of identifying what do they want to accomplish with this, it comes down to also letting them know, hey, Bitcoin's looking really good right now, but in the history of cycles, this really shouldn't be happening. And, the news can tell us that this is on the horizon, but there's no real confidence yet that this is absolutely going to happen at a very high percent to where we can start making resource moves and investing back into marketing and starting to close up things quicker than we should. So there's a lot of eyes on what's happening, but we're trying to be realistic too. With like, how do we get the business done? Because opening a smart contract is not the hard part. We all know that. It's about the business that has to be around that in order for it to stick around.
No, that makes sense. But a lot of the things, like I say, a lot of the things you're working on are long-term things, building the basics, building the essence of blockchain technologies with new companies, helping the government out, that type of stuff. So those are long-term issues. In which obviously you hope to see success.
It is diverse.
But
I want to be here for a long time. It's more than just diamond holding a token, right? I wanted to also work in this space and be around with long-standing companies.
But we all know that everyone's happier when the Bitcoin is doing the pumping move, and we've seen it on our show. We've seen it in the Telegram. We've seen it in Twitter postings. People that have been sitting out the past year are coming back, and they got a little bit of that. Their bags were negative for a while there, and everyone said just hold on till 2024, and they have, and they've coming back. They're coming back to life. Are you seeing people creep back into the space as well because of what the market's doing right now?
I am, and I'm also seeing some new people, and we're actually using the conditions of the market right now to attract. So a new position that I have recently taken is an advisor to the Blockchain Legal Institute. So the founder there, her name is Jackie Cooper. She's an attorney, and I met her at the Government Blockchain Association. And so she's been working on an entire resource tool. It's so robust with so many, collaborators into the platform. but it's to help invite law firms and attorneys and people in the legal space to come in and get educated about how we operate on chain and get them educated. And this will go out to also, like, you know, the court system. So she has a team of interns that are also working on finding out when court cases have to get processed and so forth. And it's anything related to blockchain, crypto tokens, NFTs. Where are they using? Where are they gaining their resources? How are they finding their experts? How are they, you know, facilitating so that whatever the result is from any of these cases, that we have put our best information forward, and you actually have people who understand how we operate, because it's too confusing even from people like you and I. You know, we have 3 people on this show right now, and we all have different strengths in how we see this market and our opinions of it.
I agree. And the blockchain, I met Jackie at the Toronto Blockchain Futurist Convention, and I actually interviewed. I've not run her interview. I just realized that I've not run her interview, but she came on and I recorded an interview with her. I'll have to put that on the air. But the Blockchain Legal Institute unlocks the secrets of Bitcoin blockchain law, elevates your brand with blockchain legal media and events, and empowers the growth with education and initiatives. There we go. Look at that. I'm glad you're involved with that. Good organization, and they have good events, and I would say very well-attended events.
Yeah, we recently had a digital conference, and it was the first for the Blockchain Legal Institute. And so we'll have another one in March. At the first one, we actually had the Prime Minister for Bermuda be our keynote speaker. And then we did a lot of cool panels. I led a panel on social impact and what blockchain can do there. These are really great platforms because it's not just, hey, go do this course, get a certificate, but it creates a community so that we can continue to grow it. And if you take a look at their membership fees compared to even just going to a crypto conference, they've lowered the barrier of entry, and it's reasonable to get involved with something like this. You know, this isn't one of those platforms that's out there to nail down a $5,000 a year membership for 2 conferences a year. So these are the things that I love to support. I'm also looking forward to the NFT marketplace that's being rebranded from Meme NFT to Blue List. That is definitely some alpha that I'm bringing here, because they have not made those announcements. But I really like you guys. And
wow, look at that. A first here on DYOR Live, dropping the alpha.
Hear that? Oh my
I love you guys. So we bring the alpha, but you know, this is what good founders are thinking. These guys have been around for 2 years, so you know they kind of went through the last run and then got themselves together as a community, and so they've been building. And it was really fun to think about how the communities were in the back, 2 years ago. Meme tokens, community tokens, they're flying high. You know, Doge got re-injected with a ton of energy and media exposure. So, you know, for them to be called Meme NFT, that was really cool, and it really produced a ride or die community. But when you go for seed rounds and you look at VCs and you try to do some professional decks and you want to make, you know, some sponsor offers, the meme vibe isn't really giving amongst the optics that crypto has right now. So they're going to be rebranding the Blue List, and the team is super backed by some really cool dudes that I just know are going to stick around and make it happen. So yes, as you said, we're all doing such different things. You guys talk about the TA. You, Tom, have your list, and you just press a lot of buttons and make stuff happen that I know I can't. But for me, I'm just that people person. So Miss Aloha, get out there and get behind the screen and figure out how are these people making it happen. But more so, I think I learn more from everybody's mistakes.
All right, Carmen, good to catch up with you now. Hold on a sec. We're going to head back to Pedro to talk a little bit about the markets. And of course, since you are one of our co-hosts here, if you have any comments about whatever we're talking about, please pipe right in.
I have a question for Carmen before we do move forward.
Let her rip.
All right. So my question is, you know, I'm all about the money, right? I want to help people make money, and I want to help them keep their money. So, and one thing I want to ask is, so you just dropped some fat alpha, right? And we're talking pH, like big booty in your face, like what, like crazy.
Oh, and, Becky.
Thick. Oh, Becky. Okay. And how can I go through and take advantage of that alpha? that you just dropped?
You know, it's tough for me whenever I get asked these things. Like, how do I go for it? Because I actually do the opposite of you, Pedro. I don't talk about the numbers at all. I talk about behaviors. I'm getting into teams. I'm helping founders like not quit, right? So I'm always taking a look, and the best alpha that I can always give you is like, what is the team doing? In terms of the performance of their token, that's all that matters to me. If they continue sticking around, if they don't give up, if they continue to go through all the challenges that they're going to face and try to get to a point where they're resourceful enough, you know, because a lot of this is a good example of a community coming together and really popping it off. This was not a team that, you know, came together from 10 years of friendship that had massive resources and successful businesses behind them. And this is not unlike a lot of tokens out there. So what it comes down to is, you know, what I'd be looking for in the next run with teams like this is, can they succeed leveraging the newcomers that come in to guide them into the right place with the right community and actually provide value for them so that they don't wreck themselves and stay with this community too, and get to a point where they get enough resources so that they can go through the regulation. Because here's the thing, for those tokens, once everything comes to clear, they're going to have to spend their money making sure that they got all of their applications and that they've got all of their businesses, you know, lined up in the way that they should be, and that they're not in, you know, a place where they can just have to be shut down and get sued out of business.
I think
and so, you know, I have a real big problem with saying, hey, you know, I'm on that team, go buy this. I'm like, hey, let me be on the team for you. I'm a people of the person, and we're going to guide this team to the right place by making sure they have the right resources to stick around.
Got it.
And I keep on telling people laws. This is why I took the advisory position that I did, because I want to pair more teams up with great lawyers that truly understand. Number one, we kind of don't know nothing right now, and that we need to be on the edge of our seat, ready to pivot and comply when it all comes down.
Yeah, I agree with that. There's right now, I mean, we literally had with the project that I work with, we literally during this, I mean, when Congress came out and started going after DAOs and started going after, you know, companies that were actually more or less like a security, but we're not like XYO, right? It was, I mean, they were $1 billion company, right? And because they hadn't paid attention to the regulations behind what, you know, the legislation that was coming through, they got wrecked. I mean, absolutely wrecked. I mean, got delisted and pushed off of platforms, and where, you know, they had made the majority of their profit from. So it was one of those moments that we sat there and was like, okay, you need to pull back, and we need to wait until we see what the legislation is going to do, and watch Congress, because it's been really interesting. Like, and so speaking of Congress, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to tell you this, you know, we're sitting here having a conversation about, you know, government agencies that can come down and throw lawsuits on, you know, our companies that are here on chain. But here's another interesting plot twist, and it's something that not a lot of people are talking about. It's not a secret. This isn't like alpha, but it's information that nobody's really talking about, and so we have it here, and we need to think about this. There's a gentleman out there named Reggie Middleton. He has 2 patents in the world. One is in Japan, one is in US, and he's being called the father of DeFi. Now, when his patents got approved in the US last year at the beginning, he actually went and he has a lawsuit up against Coinbase, and he has a lawsuit against Circle right now. It's his intention to go after all of them. Now, an interesting thing, okay, so everybody can sue each other, doesn't mean that it's warranted. Well, in his Coinbase lawsuit, Coinbase went to and requested to dismiss, saying this is frivolous, it's not. Well, they got denied. They went into discovery phase, and unfortunately, Reggie's lawyer passed away. No conspiracy. He passed away, so he has to kind of like pause and recoup. Well, Coinbase takes that opportunity to come in again and request to dismiss this on the premise that this patent is not even legitimate. And so again, that gets denied. So these movements, you know, are small. They're going to take lots of time, but you know, this guy's up against big entities, and so far so good. So this is one of those things where like we want to watch this, because the suits can also come from within. There are a lot of smart people. He went in and did these patents probably in 2000, somewhere in the zone of like 2014, 2015. But this is a guy who has
Long time ago.
background of
In crypto world.
being a thought opinion leader about how markets move. So he's from legacy finance. So when he came into crypto and understood how Bitcoin operates, he saw it from a different perspective and started the patent route with DeFi. So he says that he's really going to go after every swap, every exchange. And so these are the moments where we're like, you got to watch little guys like that because they could be really big guys and we just don't know it. And nobody wants to talk about it.
It's setting the precedence of, because all they need is once, president's case law or case law / presidents, right? And on all of a sudden, then that creates law, and then everybody and their mama comes out. I mean, who is it? The father of the internet. I forget his name.
Al Gore.
No, it's
he.
Yeah.
Why did you want to say man, bear, pig when you said Al Gore?
No, that's funny. But he's got a few lawsuits out there, and I think he's one of few, and because like he came up with substantial.
Are you talking about the guy who claims to invented email?
No, this guy, look him up. Andre Gray. He just recently been, a few months ago, was like listed, came out with 2 books. But the guy has real patents. I mean, real patents. He's not he's much like your friend. Not your friend, but the guy you're speaking of. And, and the guy's made money. Or like the Winkle twins. Not Winkle twin. What is it? What are the
Winklevoss.
Winklevoss. Yeah, thank you. They sat there and like, no, and they won. Now, granted, that was just a chink out of Zuckerberg's arsenal of money, but still, they walked away and created Gemini with over $100 million from that. So it's one of those things. I think as we look at what's actually happening, setting up, I think, for projects to really take a step back, and like you said, Carmen, look at the group understanding how your tech interlays on top of other tech and making sure that you do the correct stuff. I think is so important. I agree with that. Speaking of laws and causing trouble, let's check out Doge here real quick. Elon Musk with the go F YouTube.
Is he piping
Disney.
up again here?
No, he wasn't. But, well, he's always piping, right? When doesn't he? But the key is, though, is when he comes at you, we now know he got real teeth. I mean, what was it? Disney lost $3 billion as of to date based off of Elon Musk to say, go F yourself. So with that said, we can sit there and see, like, Doge is starting to rally as well. And it's following the 8-period moving average, which is really nice. You can see it's a clean, nice, and this is what I like about it. You see how we're seeing these wicks come down, right? We see them come down and push back up. We see them come down, push back up, come down, push back up. And every time we've come down and hit the moving average, it's perfectly balanced, and that's a huge thing. I can see here what I like about it. It's trading really well. And so for me as a technician, right, as I look at the market, I'm sitting there and I sit there and go, okay, I can trade this. That which means there's volume in their blockchain, which means there's money coming in, right? So if I can trade it well, I'm happy.
That's true.
Because I want to keep trading it. And so you can see here, Dogecoin hit this nice little supply area that I put, I think, a while back here on the show to pay attention to, and we hit it directly today, and we're seeing a nice little sell-off today. We'll see if it follows down, but if we are going to see Doge fall down, or not fall down, but come back down, I would look to see it come down into last week's or the previous week's demand
I've
zone
got
here.
your I've zoomed in on your chart a little bit, so I can't see the title in the upper left-hand corner. What is it's Doge? What's the pair?
Doge USD. I always try to
and
pair.
it's a weekly chart?
Yeah, this is the weekly chart.
Gotcha.
And let me move this over here so you guys get a better. Here we are.
No, you don't need to do that. Then that screws up the other things I have laid out.
Oh, okay. I'll just keep it. All right.
Leave it like it is.
Right. Yeah. So you can see here. Yeah, this is a weekly chart here, and so we're looking at this market, and you can see down here. that I like that 0.7 cent area. Right now we're sitting at about what are we sitting at right now? A 9 cent. We just bounced off the 10 cent. So I like that 7 cent area retracement coming down to, again, even on the weekly chart, we are starting to really follow on this 8-period moving average as you see us. And you can see us ping-ponging. My first time ever coming on to DYOR. Remember when you were like, Pedro, what's it going to do for the week? Is it going to go up or go down? I go, it's going to ping pong. It's going to ping pong. I don't know what to tell you.
That's true. It's going to ping pong.
And so you can see here that we've seen some ping ponging where it hit the 89, and then we saw a sell-off come down to the 8, ping pong again to the 100 period weekly, came back down, and we've been tapping this 8 period as every time. So I can see us coming back down. Yeah, tap her in. The price is wrong, Bob.
Gotta do it every time.
Every time. And so I always tell you guys, listen, I want to see if it goes up first in the week, first part of the week. I expected to see a sell-off to come down, and that's not going to be a bad thing. So, coming down to these lower areas here, that 7 cent mark, 7.3, 7.77, where we're sitting at right now with the with Doge, with that 8-period moving average. These are nice little areas that maybe start to dollar cost average, so you can sit there and really start to gauge. So if this is the bull run potential that we've all been waiting for, your dollar cost averaging, right? So you just don't want to buy up at the top. Our goal here is to dollar cost average and to prepare for the next bear market and bull run, because all you got to do is survive 2 bear markets in crypto, and you're sitting really well for life. That's 8 years. That's 8 years, people. So that's how you want to look at it.
That's true.
So you can sit here and see right in these levels here, like when you look to maybe purchase, this is important. If you decide to do that, again, this is not financial advice. It's only for social and educational and entertainment purposes only. As we come down, you want to see if you can gauge in at these lower levels. Be paying attention to the wicks. If we see a week where we really don't have a wick, okay, pay attention, because we're probably going to come back and retrace into that level, and they're looking to get this area. But Doge is doing really well. So shout out to Doge and Mr. Elon Musk for sticking it to the man. It was impressive. Elon Musk. Mr.
Go
Beast, Mr.
F
Beast.
yourself.
Yeah, and unquote.
As we're calling BTC now, we refer to it as Mr. Beast.
Mr.
Not
Beast,
the Beast,
yeah.
Mr. Beast. I don't think anyone else is using that name. I'm sure we're the first to use that name.
Well, I was using it for when I had my own show fully, right? Like I was typing Mr. Beast, aka BTC. So I just think it's a smart ploy. If ever we run and meet Mr. Beast, I'm gonna say, I'm sorry, man. I hate to ride on your coattails, but hey, it helps. If anything, he'll be like, it's all good, man. Here's $1 million. Thank you. Or he'll probably help me do something. Like, you got to jump jacks, or I'll give you $5,000 for every video you watch. And I'll be like, well, buddy, that's a bad mistake. Anyways, one last one. Unless do you want to go somewhere else real quick, and then we can go check out Shiba?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so one thing I want to bring up here, now Shiba is starting to get some traction, and we're starting to see it push through. Okay, so like I said, we have that area right here, which, like I said, if we clear the 1.4 or the 1100 marks, the next stopping that we're going to sit there, and that's why I don't even have this area here, because I really didn't think that it was going to stop in much, because it's already been traded through. But I'll put it here so you can see what I'm talking about. So this area right here on Shiba Doge, no, not Shiba Doge, Shiba Inu. You can see here that we did hit this area right here. We're seeing a little bit of a sell-off, but I feel like for Shiba Inu, because we're seeing so much volume come in at these levels right here, that you should see a retracement back and then a push forward. So this is just, I feel like this is going to be a temporary resistant area of that 1100 area to the 1000 or to the 1000 area, because this right here, like I said, isn't there just isn't a lot of resistance really, because it's already been kind of traded through, and it's in a reactive area. It's reacted off a previous area right here. So that's why I feel like it's not really going to continue down. But again, for Shiba Inu, that's what I'm looking at. And if you're looking again to dollar cost average, that I think that 828 area, if it does come back down, you want to be looking for that, or a potential bounce off of that 8-period moving average. As you can see again, that we're starting to follow now, right? Again, we're seeing supply wicks here. Demand wicks, and this is what I'm always talking about, the defense against the sellers, and that's what I want to see in a good push up. And so that's it for this round of charts. Unless we want to go into for this price of right. Do we want to check out XRP, or do we want to keep moving on to some other news?
No, let's keep moving. I'm gonna take a quick break here to talk about our sponsors really quick, and then this will be a short one today instead of my long version. And then I'm going to talk quickly about the topic of the day. Then we'll come back in, get back with Carmen, and talk more projects with you as well. One of the things that I like to talk about on this show, if I can get this right here. No, not that one. That one. And this button too. All right. I gotta love my Stream Deck. I like to talk about is our sponsors, because without sponsors, things don't happen. But so I'd like to talk about our channel presenting sponsor, Audit Chain. You can find information about them at auditchain.finance. What Audit Chain does is they audit and check, assure if companies' financial reportings to Edgar or the European version of Edgar, or in 58 other reporting jurisdictions of the world, whether or not that company's man, I don't have the right thing up here. Live scene. There we go. All right. What Audit Chain does is they audit the financial statements that get filed. So when companies say, these are our official financial statements, these are our disclosures, this is the state of our company. Audit Chain software, which is a blockchain and validating node-based software, can go in and check it to see if they're conforming to the rules. And that industry, the financial reporting industry, uses this thing called taxonomy. And if they're using the correct taxonomies, or if they're using the right standards, all this type of stuff, Audit Chain figures it out in a few minutes. And obviously, I'm giving you the short version of that. I'm not going to play the long version of that because we've got Carmen as a guest today. So if you want to learn about how an actual blockchain and validating node company, Web3 company, can check traditional finance companies and make sure their auditors are doing the right jobs and their filings are correct. It's a disruptor technology, as we call it, and it's amazing. I do a poor job of explaining it in person because I'm not in that industry. But I got to tell you, when we're live on the air and we run Tesla's recent financial statements and we see that their balance sheet doesn't balance, it's called a balance sheet for a reason. And it got past their auditors, it got past their chief financial officer, it got past the board of directors audit committee, it got past everybody, and then we figure it out live on the air in a minute or two. It really is amazing. Secondly, I'd also like to thank down here below me, I've got the right here. I've got Camuso CPA, and Patrick Camuso is a CPA in the United States who is one of those people that when Pedro and I say this is not financial or tax advice, he's one of those people that can say this is financial advice and tax advice because he does that for a living. And what his company does is it's a crypto-based accounting firm that specializes in digital assets. And can help you prepare for your taxes, help do your taxes. Can also go back in time and help fix your taxes. So if you want to talk about, if you want to get your crypto taxes in order, because we all know the IRS is the largest licensee of chain analysis software. They had so many that they gave extras to Ukraine to track down Russian money coming in via crypto. they're going to get you. So go down there, click the link to Camuso CPA, help support the channel in doing so, and get your taxes in order. But that's all I got to say for our sponsors. I could literally talk about them forever in reality, things like that. But really, I wanted to get to the topic of the day here, and I had a nice graphic for it, but I can't bring it up. For some reason, I can't bring it up. So I'll just put Pedro's chart back up there. It looks good. One of the things I talk about on the show is I try to bring a little education to everybody. I look at what's going on in the markets, and oh wait, I know where to find that graphic. I don't know why I can hear this so loudly. The music. Anyway, where is that? Where is that? Hold on, let me find this here. Enjoy the music while you can. Let's see, it's on LinkedIn. It's on Anton's feed. I thought of this topic yesterday when my good friend Anton of Swiss Asset DAO posted something about. Let's see, where is it? Anton. Here we go. All right, let's see if I can bring it up here. All right, so guys, your mics aren't live here, so you can talk in the background if you want. But anyway, Anton posted this clip of this guy here talking on. Let's see if I can blow it up here. I had all this ready ahead of time. But as usual, what happens is this guy here talking on CNBC about Bitcoin boom, the halving, scarcity, all this type of stuff that's going on. And I thought to myself, I was like, I had this discussion with people during the Safe Moon era when they're like, oh, we're burning it. There's only so many of them. There's it's going to drive the price up to infinity. We're all going to turn into billionaires. And I was like, no, you're not. No, that's not going to happen. And not just because there's not enough money in the world to do that. It's because that the idea that a crypto is scarce is not exactly true at this point. And one of the reasons I say that is because guys like this get on the air and say, and I'm not besmirching Brian Kelly here, he's a smart guy, but he's perpetuating the myth that Bitcoin is scarce. And I'm going to tell you why it's not scarce, because each Bitcoin has how many. I'm going to turn the mics back on here as a test. Carmen and Pedro, how many Satoshis are in one Bitcoin? It's a test. Come on, guys.
I think it's like
we're Americans. And you're asking us to go into method mode.
There are 100 million Satoshis in every Bitcoin, which means like there's 100 pennies in every US dollar, right? And so you can divide every US dollar into 100 pennies. You can divide every Bitcoin into, God, I don't know where all my things went here. You can divide every Bitcoin into 100 million Satoshis, which means there's 21 million BTC. There's 19 million have been mined, right? Something like that. And so there's only like 2 million left. So people are like, oh, it's getting scarce. 19 million are being held. All this type of stuff. And if people think, oh, I'm gonna FOMO right in here because there's not much left, and I'm gonna get me some while it's hot. Let's not forget that a Bitcoin is currently traded. It's currently traded.
So, question about the halving.
I got this in my ear here. It can be divided into 100 million Satoshis, and when you buy part of a Bitcoin, it says 0.0001. You're actually buying so many Satoshis, and you're not buying 0.001 cents or point like that. You're buying that many Satoshis, and if it goes all the way out to the last one and you buy 1 Satoshi, you buy 100 millionth of a Bitcoin. So you can trade Bitcoin all the way down to a 100 millionth. So that means if there are 21 million Bitcoin and there are 100 million Satoshis per Bitcoin. What's the final number there? How many tradable units are there? I don't expect you guys to do this in your head. Either you guys, Mike and crew out there listening, Mr. Kaching, if you're listening, or Carmen or Pedro. I'll answer it for you. There's 2 quadrillion. I can't remember if it's 21 quadrillion, 100 million, or 2 quadrillion, 100 million units out there. That's how many there are out there. I'm just going to go figure out the right number. You're live. Go ahead, Peter.
I was going to say, how many zeros are there?
A lot.
Well, the reason why I say so, after a billion, you have a trillion. After a trillion, you have a quadrillion. After a quadrillion, you have six is sextillion, 7.
Mako stop is listening to this is 14. Right, it's just 21 million times 100 million. I forget if it's either 21 quadrillion or 2 quadrillion, 100 trillion. And I had the answer up here, but like I said, my graphics failed me today. Increments of 1. Two experts are talking ahead. Speed but the scarce. It's really time. You can only trade increments of 1. I thought I might put it up live. Anyway, there's a lot of units out there. That means if every BTC unit was just worth $1, that's more money than the world has right now. Adding everything up. And so what that means is that as they mint more of these, when people mine them, and the BTCs become scarce, and if it's true, if the sellers don't sell, the price will go up. But what happens when the price go up? Price goes up. Eventually, it gets to selling points for people. Here's the number. How many zeros?
So 100.
Good morning, Mako stuff. Yeah, so my point is that I'm getting a little distracted by my calculating here. The point is that there are enough units out there to trade until all the way down till 1 Satoshi becomes unaffordable to the masses. And that is a long way away. Because if you think about it, as the price goes up, fewer and fewer people will be able to buy a whole Bitcoin. So they buy part of a Bitcoin, which say they buy half Bitcoin. That's a 50 million sats. They buy a quarter of a Bitcoin, it's 25 million sats. And as a sat becomes more valuable, then people will start buying those. And as there becomes more people in crypto, more of these things will get brought up. So the concept that there's only 2 million left is just a hype machine out there. And I don't like the people getting up there like I have I already lost the guy here. But this guy here talking about that it's not, there's only so many left, so the price is going to go up no matter what, which is like, that's BS. There has to be enough buyers to pump it up, and there has to be people that aren't willing to sell for the price to go up. So there has to be a huge demand for it. And people have to realize they can trade these things down to almost infinity. And then when say every sat becomes worth $1, or $1 million, or whatever it is, and people can't afford to buy one sat, what someone's going to do, and the Bitcoin people could fractionalize a sat. It's pretty easy. You could do that right now. You could start your own level 2 chain, but it won't be directly linked. But the Bitcoin people could, validators could get together and say, all right, we're going to fork this thing. And make a level 2 chain or something or do that or whatever, and subdivide that. So the topic of today's thing is Bitcoin scarce? No, it's not. It's not scarce. The hype machine drives it here, and I don't want you to fall for it and FOMO in because you're like, it's scarce. I'm not going to be able to get it later. You'll always be able to get something that's valuable based on what you can afford. It doesn't matter where it is now or in the future. The price of Bitcoin's going up. Might not be 10x overnight like your meme NFT / blue list token.
literally, I've woken up to over a few days where it 10x's, so that can happen.
Yeah, that's absolutely true, Pedro. So that's my I left the Mako stops thing in there. Yeah, he did the calculations for us. 2.1 quad, 2 quadrillion, 100 trillion tradable units out there. Pedro says thanks. Mako, thank you very much. for that, I'll give him Kaching's cash register there. Thank you for calculating that for us. Appreciate it. But that's what I wanted to get out today. I'm going to cut this out as a little DYOR Now short. Put that out there so people understand and can learn from it, saying, look, someone says this stuff is scarce or scarcer than gold or something like that, say, no, it's not. Nope. And this is why, because there's all these decimal points. I don't remember. So what is that? That's 9 decimal points for BTC, right? That you can trade it all the way down to that way. Just like I went back, like I was saying, I went back to the SafeMoon era when people were saying, "Oh my God, there's only so many, we're burning them." I was like, SafeMoon had 18 decimal points in their original contract, and that means it could be traded. There was another 100 million, a power of 100 million. Units. It was, it was septillion or something like that, tradable units. So there was no way they could possibly burn enough. Even if they burned, the original SafeMoon contract was a trillion or something like that, or a quadrillion. Even if they burned, 999 trillion of them, there's still 18 decimal points of things that people can trade, and the value is just assumed down there in those little things. So when you hear people hucking out there saying this is how it is because it's scarce, just put it in the back of your mind, say, what about all those decimal points? And then the people will go, yeah, well, it's still scarce because we say it is. And, did you hear the article about how the guys turned flakes of lead into flakes of gold over in Switzerland or something like that?
Say what?
No, I did not. What?
Yeah, down at the molecular level, they accomplished alchemy and turned, or at the atomic level, I guess, maybe not whatever that is. They turned like some minuscule amount of lead into gold. And so if they can do that in a tiny minuscule amount now, that means a factory in China in 5 years will be cranking that shit out like fake diamonds.
I wouldn't have let that secret out. Like if I was the one that made the breakthrough, no way that's getting out.
I would never announce that ever. I would just be making my old gold and selling it. I get so rich.
Exactly. I mean, like, you're just based off of the education that you threw down today, you're giving me hope that the $5 of free Bitcoin that I got for signing up on Coinbase is a bright future for everyone. I'm gonna let the grandkids know now.
That's
funny.
That's good stuff right there. That's actually really good. I'm actually I'm jumping on ChatGPT right now, connected to Bing, right? And I'm simply just asking, what is the calculation of the total amount of just currencies in the world right now? And it literally is such a pain in the butt. It's not willing to give me. I'm thinking about going just to BAR just to be like.
You don't have. I ran it through a ChatGPT also, and every other thing it would say this is not a permitted thing when I would ask about cryptocurrencies or currencies, but I would reword it and then it would work, and then I would have a spelling error and I'd fix a spelling error and say, I'm sorry, this is not permitted. It was really weird how they're filtering out cryptocurrency questions or currency questions.
Just currency questions in general. What's up? What was it?
I feel attacked, like triggered when things don't work right for our industry.
Yep.
Yeah. I feel like because there's a lot of there's a Bard. Is it Google Bard or Bard Google?
I can't remember.
Google Bard AI. I can't wait till I can get access to Elon Musk's system, right? Where his AI, because I don't think I just
won't be so filtered.
Yeah, I mean, it's honest to God. The fact that the man said "F you" to Disney, I don't know. I respect the guy because he basically holds to his values. He's like, no, man, this is how I feel. This is what it is, and this is how I'm going to run. And we'll let the world decide what it's going to. And the world has decided, hey, F Disney. But in the same, right? Like lost $3 billion. But in the same sense, I can't see him really filtering himself. And I like the fact that he's had community notes now. I love the fact. So I think if you sit there and somebody will sit there, okay, this is potentially what it should be. Now, granted, I understand. Like if you look at it in reference of the US dollar, right? So if you take the US dollar and what everything is worth, right? And it changes per currency how you run it, right? But it's still going to give you a rough estimate, right? Within a deviation maybe of 1 or 2. But either or, you're still looking at it from an exact amount. And to sit there and say, all right, this is what the world uses, okay? And granted, you can add more currency to it based off of the Fed and what's going on, right? With the money supply and how that develops. But I would think that you would want to see the difference between that and Bitcoin. And to sit there and say, look, you could really see the scarcity here in relationship to currencies within itself, right? And like, you talked about it pretty awesome when it comes to going through and looking at how much of Satoshi is worth, right? And I didn't know that it was 100 mil. I think you told me that, and I was like, wait, what? But
yeah, it's very subdividable.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's like, it's just really interesting how it potentially is going to go. Let's say, because what's it, 2140 is the last bit is when the last should be air quote the last of the mining, right? Where it should be mined. I believe that's what it is.
Yeah, 2104, I think, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, we still got.
But they'll be mining. They mine it down to the last sat. I mean, it's just, you know, we get all this way, getting most of them out, but then because there's 9 decimals, people think, oh, there's only a million left. No, there's 100 million left because they start going into the halving, start going down into satoshis. You know, and so it's a concept that took me a long time to understand, but once I realized that there's no finite supply of anything. I mean, things can be subdivided. The only thing unless you want to get into physics and Planck lengths, or the Planck time or things like that it's impossible to subdivide things further because that's physics. That's one thing. But in money, you can always subdivide it. And in property, you can always subdivide. You can subdivide your house into 1 million units. It just gets smaller. Just need smaller people.
It's like TikTok money too. You have to have like 3 flower gifts to make a penny,
right.
I think.
All right, well, you two, we've only got 10 minutes left on the show. I've asked people to let us know if they want anything to go over, but Pedro, previously we had Mako Stop asked to see if you could run through the XRP chart. Why don't you talk a little about XRP, Stellar, and that whole group?
Absolutely. So as you guys can see here, that we're not really seeing a big push. I mean, we have Bitcoin that is skyrocketing right now. And you can see here that XRP isn't doing much, which doesn't bode well for XRP, right? And as we look at a lot of the other charts, you're going to see that it's definitely stronger with the other charts. So I'm kind of shocked here. And I can't really put 2 and 2 together why XRP is what is happening. It just doesn't make sense to me. And if we're going to look at it just purely from a technical standpoint, right now we're basically going sideways. As you can see here, here's our lows sitting at 57 cents, and our highs sitting at 75. So the next resistance level is literally the 94 cents to the 85 cents. And then the lows potentially we could come back to, and I know this is a large range, but all of these have already been traded down through. So the next spot is really the 32 through the 28 cent mark area, specifically for XRP. And it's just, I don't know exactly what's actually going on here. I know the community is vibrant and strong. So respect to the community. I just wondering why this is actually happening. So for my own personal, it just doesn't make sense to me. If we look at real quick Solana is, as you can see here, come on, it had a huge push up. I mean, this is when they were doing their conference, and it literally almost doubled. I mean, you can see it went from 23 to 63 here. So it's almost doubled here. And so I sit there and I go, okay, respect. And we're starting to still see some higher highs it's trying to push for higher highs here as Bitcoin is pumping. So for me, when I sit there and I go, if I'm going to want to gauge from where we're sitting right now to the actual resistant level, the next resistant level. You can see here it's up at the 84 to 95. Now, if we look at that weekly, you guys can see here, and as we look at the weekly, how we're actually starting to play off of that 8-period moving average right at this level here on the weekly. So this is where I would want to see potentially a retracement back for maybe a potential start of a dollar cost average as we descend here. But in the same sense, something to be paying attention to. The next spot, as you can see here, like I said, you can see that we had the defense of the sellers as we push down right here on these weekly charts. Like I said, 52. But the next spot, if we do pierce through this and start to go below the 8-period moving average, is going to be that $16, $15 area here. Potentially could come back down to the base before we see another rally up. So mindful of that. You can see here that also the $32 area, $33 area here is another area on the monthly chart that we could potentially come down to as well. So making sure that you are understanding that. Dollar cost average, making sure you guys are being smart with your money. If you need to pay your family and take care of bills, take care of the bills and do what you can. Be smart. We'll go into Matic here real quick. Matic, and this is where I find really interesting. Here we go. No, there's the chart. Is that there again here you can see with Matic, they had a big push up back in October, and this is where a lot of the good news were coming out that they're releasing this, doing that, and we did find support at this level right here on the demand level here. So I find this interesting because we are putting higher highs and higher lows. We are putting in demand wicks, as we can see right here. And so for me, we are finding support on that 8-period moving average, as you guys can see here. My biggest issue is where's the volume? Like, we should see more volume coming in. So with this level here, I do want to see, and here's the thing, it could easily push all the way back up to that $1.29 area. So for me, as I'm looking at this, I do see us potentially coming up to here simply because this is the next level. But I just don't understand why we're not necessarily pushing up.
Well, you can't figure everything out.
I know, right? And just to point out just a couple areas here real quick. And if I'm rambling and if you want me to stop, let me know. But you can see here that on your monthly chart, you have your 68-cent mark area, okay, that we can come back and test the 70 or the 8-period moving average on that monthly. And then on that weekly, again, you could sit there and see how we're playing off of the 8 again, down at that 72. So there's a few markers for you to potentially dollar cost average at these levels, so that you're not just putting everything up here or, everything right in these levels. You can dollar cost average, and then as we see crypto start to progress and move forward into this bull run, you're definitely going to be ahead here.
Right.
I believe that. Do you want me to do AVAX?
Well, let's go give us the quick AVAX, then give us the quick CAS.
Oh yeah. Okay, here we go. Boom. I forgot I have my old stuff. I was looking at this. Forgive me here real quick.
While he's getting set up here, sorry, Pedro, real quick. For those of you that just joined us, I noticed the count went up a little bit recently. You're watching the DYOR live here with Striking, which is me, otherwise known as Tom, and Pedro Garcia, the person above me, crypto chart analyst. We do quick shows about, we do hour-long morning shows and afternoon shows about the markets, about topics of regulation, policy, and other things, and we interview good people throughout the industry. So stick around if you want to come back. Click that subscribe button and notify. Either here or on LinkedIn. I noticed a bunch of people showed up there, so thank you very much. And so, as I say, follow us, like us, and comment, and you'll get notified when we go on the air a couple times a week. Sorry, Pedro, go ahead.
Yeah. No, it's absolutely. So real quick with, I just saw Mako ask, so we'll also jump into XRLAM and XDC. Real quick here. You can see here with AVAX, we're really starting to push up. We hit the supply level here that I marked out, sold off, and now we're pushing up. So we're coming up into this monthly supply area, as you guys can see, and we're definitely starting to, and this I want to point out, we don't have any defense here, but it's a good looking chart. Okay, a decent sell-off, come back down, found support on the weekly 8 period as we saw it come back down. Boom, we see a trending 8 right here coming up into that weekly zone. We also have the 50 period moving, or excuse me, not 50, but the 100 period moving average. And my moving averages are simple, so if anybody ever wants to know what I use, these are just simple moving averages that the institutions look at. And so you can see here we've got a good supply area with some moving averages, so typically makes that a bit stronger on the higher time frames. Now let's jump here real quick to XLM, USD. So with XLM, again, we are running into resistance on the higher time frame moving average. You can see that 100 period weekly moving average is putting in some pretty decent resistance. Now pointing out though, we've had a lot of defense against the sell-off. So you can see here that on the daily chart, as we went down, we definitely were putting in some pretty good defense against the sell-offs. And now we're starting to find a good trend off of that 8 period moving average. Where can it go is what you're asking. Pedro, get to the meat. All right, I'll get to the meat here. Where's the meat? Or was it, where's the beef? Excuse me.
Where's the beef?
Get to the beef. Yeah, where's the beef? All right, here we go. You can see here that we are starting to find some support at these levels here, where the moving average is sitting below us, and we do have an open sky all the way up. So if we do start to see volume step in, which we are lacking volume, right? But it doesn't necessarily mean, because I've been talking about volume, and Bitcoin is just all of a sudden came volume. So again, but with XLM, if you start to see some real volume and support, which we are seeing on the daily chart, I would see it coming up all the way. I mean, and realistically, your first resistance level is going to be the 14 cents from the 12 cents right in this level here. You can see a nice little maybe halfway pullback into the 12 cent mark around here, 12 13 cent, and then the next spot, and this is going to be a pretty nice little run on XLM. You should see it come down, see it come up to the 19 cent area, and I'll point it out right here so you guys can sit there and see it. Pardon me here. Come on. Let me grab you. There you are. Come on. There you are. Sorry.
Just
I'm a weirdo. Just happening. Guys, you guys are like, this guy's a weirdo. Anyways, but here's the thing. You can see here that the next resistance level is going to be at that 18, 19 cent area after we play off of that 13 cents. Now, you're saying, well, what's the downside? Perfect question to ask, Pedro. You can see here that as we're coming down, the next level that we could potentially see, and I'll jump into that weekly chart here. The next level that we could typically see is right here. And that would be the next real buy area where we could see a lot of buyers is down at that 9 cent mark area. So that would be about 25% sell-off. But again, this is where you would have buyers stepping in, big buyers saying, oh, it's at discount, let's buy it. So you can see here, this was the level in which it pushed up from. So I could sit there and see that it would want to rally at that level again. So that's it.
All right, Pedro, we're running out of time here for the show today. I want to bring Carmen Crypto back on the air here to get some closing remarks from her. Carmen, are you still hanging out in back here?
I'm totally still here. You know,
Carmen, we got to this is the first show you've been on in a while. We've heard Pedro and I bantering. I got to ask you, when are you going to come back again? This once every couple of months thing is hurting the soul here.
You know what? I actually there's a viewer that I invited into the audience here, and I said, yeah, I really need to come back to these guys. Like, I really love the banter here. I love the TA, and you know, Pedro, as you were talking about XRP, let me tell you this. I had my garage door fixed yesterday. This guy was on Coinbase and Coinbase only, and he's like, oh yeah, you're in crypto? My friend told me about this, and he had to pull it up, didn't even know it by name, and shows me XRP.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know,
that means it's time to sell. That was your sell indicator right there. Mako, when the garage door installer guy is randomly talking about it, that's a sell.
Yeah, sell it, dump it right now. But you know, it's an indicator. Everyone's watching. You know, like we are in the right place, the right time. It's just you have to have a plan for both ways that this could go, up or down, and that's easy for us to hash out. You have to have a plan. But yeah, I want to come back, man. If you mornings we'll do this video. Afternoons we go hard and we'll come on like a full chumbalone.
Yeah, well, for those of you who don't know, Carmen is a few time zones behind us, so when we do the morning show, it's just not a good situation. Plus, the town where she lives in is a late night town, so the as they say, the show call would be at about 5:30 a.m. for her, and so that's not going to work. So Pedro and I have been trying to do some afternoon shows and in the evening shows periodically to see if we can change up our audience a little bit, get a little different idea about it. But frankly, the best seem to work out mornings for us because both Pedro and I get busy in the afternoon with real world stuff. But we try now and then. So Carmen, on those episodes, we're definitely going to try now and then again. So we're going to start wrapping, as they say, the show. Carmen, and anything you want to yak about? Any projects you want to pitch here before we roll?
No, I'll save the alpha for the next time I come around. That way,
Yes.
I'm going to show up.
Yes,
But as we spoke, going through the articles. And next time let's
doing
talk
my
about
Ellen dance.
all the moves that Kathy Woods is doing over at ARK Investments. And remember, I just gave you guys some cool alpha to start researching about Reggie
Right.
Middleton.
Kathy made so much money on Coinbase stock. Oh my God, this is ridiculous.
No joke. Well, I'm going to make $5 a Bitcoin go very far in this life thanks to you guys in this stream today. So thanks for having me on, and I absolutely will be back.
Oh, I love it. Hey, man, listen, that $5 one day will sooner or later be, it's going to be good. It's going to be real nice, I would assume. I can't give, price predictions in 50 years, but I would assume in 50 years it would, $5 now? I don't know. We'll see.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you got entertained today. I got to thank everybody for watching. We had a couple of people come in there later in the day on LinkedIn and a few on YouTube all at once. Hopefully YouTube recognizes those views as something legitimate. But anyway, if any of you are still watching from that, once again, Pedro and I do generally a daily morning show here called DYOR Live. Sometimes we're live in the afternoon, sometimes in the evening, but mostly in the mornings, 2 or 3 times per week. Come back and join us. Set the notifications for like, follow, share, all that type of stuff. And thank you to our viewers today. Our usual guests, Crypto Mike, Mako Stop, Space Cat, the crew, Kaching Kaching, everyone, me, Pedro. I'm just gonna thank everyone involved. We had a good time today. We've got to get rolling, and as I always like to say, we will be here again. I don't think we're gonna be here tomorrow. I think we'll be here Friday. So everybody, be there.